The origin of the Dunning-Kruger effect. In 1995, a man named MacArthur Wheeler robbed 2 banks in Pittsburgh in broad daylight. He didn't wear a mask. Instead, he smeared lemon juice on his face, believing it would make him invisible to security cameras, based on the idea that lemon juice can be used as invisible ink. When police showed him surveillance footage, Wheeler was stunned and reportedly said, "But I wore the juice." He wasn't mentally ill or intoxicated, he was just profoundly mistaken. This case caught the attention of psychologist David Dunning, who teamed up with Dunning-Kruger to study how people with low ability often overestimate their competence. Their research led to the formal identification of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which describes the cognitive bias where people who lack knowledge or skill in a domain fail to recognize their own incompetence, and often believe they're doing great. The psychology behind the Dunning-Kruger effect is more than just overconfidence. It's a cognitive cocktail of metacognition, bias, and self-perception that leads people to misjudge their own abilities. At the heart of the effect is a lack of metacognition, the ability to evaluate your own thinking or performance. People who lack skill in a domain often don't know what they don't know. Because they're unfamiliar with the standards of competence, they can't accurately assess their own shortcomings. This creates a double curse: they perform poorly and lack the insight to recognize it. Most people tend to believe they're above average in intelligence, humor, or skill, a bias known as illusory superiority. This leads to inflated self-assessments, especially in areas where they have little experience. It's a protective mechanism for self-esteem, but it can backfire when reality hits. Some researchers argue that part of the effect is statistical. When everyone estimates their performance, low performers naturally overestimate more because they're closer to the bottom. High performers may underestimate because they assume others are just as capable. People often assume that competence in one area translates to others. For example, someone good at public speaking might believe they're also a great leader, without evidence. This misapplied confidence can lead to poor decisions and resistance to feedback. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a form of cognitive bias, where intuition overrides analysis. People rely on gut feelings rather than careful reasoning. This leads to snap judgments about their own competence that aren't grounded in reality. The Dunning-Kruger effect thrives in the world of social media, especially among influencers and their followers, because platforms reward confidence, not competence. Here's how this cognitive bias plays out in the influencer ecosystem. Many influencers build large followings by projecting certainty, even in areas where they lack expertise. Fitness influencers with no formal training promote questionable health advice. Finance gurus oversimplify complex investment strategies, leading followers into risky decisions. Lifestyle coaches offer mental health tips without psychological credentials. Their overconfidence is often mistaken for authority, especially when delivered with charisma and visual polish. As one article puts it, social media creates a hierarchy where confidence matters more than competence. Followers can fall into the trap of believing they're experts too, just by consuming content. Echo chambers reinforce beliefs without challenge, making followers feel more knowledgeable than they are. Engagement metrics, likes, shares, comments, act as social proof, validating influencers regardless of accuracy. Lack of feedback means misinformation often goes unchecked, creating a cycle of misplaced confidence. David Dunning himself noted that social media amplifies this effect by giving people the illusion of insight without true expertise. The feedback loop. Influencers post confidently. Followers validate with engagement. Influencers grow more confident. Followers mimic the behavior, spreading oversimplified or incorrect ideas. Why does it matter? Misinformation spreads faster than truth. Critical thinking is replaced by viral sound bites. Expertise is drowned out by volume and visibility. In short, social media doesn't just reflect the Dunning-Kruger effect, it supercharges it.